I always love when the Time Person of the Year 2006 is always mentioned. I was actually at a conference in Malaysia, and the guy was like introducing me, and he was like, blah, 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 this is, and he was Time's Person of the Year for 2006, and he was like so excited, and I didn't have the heart to explain to him. It's like, in 2006, if you Google it, everybody was Time's Person of the Year. So that is a true statement. I was Time's Person of the Year for 2006. But if you look at the cover of Time magazine for that year, you'll see that it's a big computer with a little silver screen, and it says you. So there we go. Congratulations. Y'all are all Time's Person of the Year 2006. But and I didn't have the heart to actually correct them. Usually I correct people, but on that one I was like, okay, I'm gonna let that one slide. We'll go with it. So thanks for showing up this early in the morning, extremely early, but you know, we're here, yay. I am not a lawyer. It's like I have played one, but I am not one, and but I do know how to Google, and so this is my legal disclaimer for this talk. It's just very simple that when I talk about the really bad things that I've done and the horrible things that I've done, and so just remember the kittens. I'm adorable, okay? I will never try to steal from you, kill you, or ruin you unless you pay me first, okay? It's always done under contract and then scope. So whenever I talk about those bad things, just remember the kittens. This is the title of the talk. It's like a friend of mine, Tim Pearson, made it all fancy. And if you'll notice, there is a theme for this talk. It's like, basically what I decided to do was like, well, I'm talking about some really bad things, but it's like, I want to make it like sort of funny. So there's a whole theme to it. If you've seen the show Breaking Bad, you're going to get some chuckles. And I've done this in other countries where it was just like, so hopefully you'll still get the general gist of it, even if you haven't watched the show before. So I'd like to start off with a little bit about who I am. The main thing that you need to know about me, because trust me, you can find everything you need to know about me, and I don't want you to know about me on Google, but I'm a blue team, red team guy. It's like I hate red team talks or offensive talks that are just about this is how I broke something. It's like if you are just going to tell me how to break something and not how to fix it, you're wasting my time. Shut up now. It's like we need to be able to say, this is how something is broken, and this is how you fix it and remediate it. So that's what this talk is a little bit. I call this talk, every year I alternate between a rant talk and a offensive talk, though most people say all my talks are offensive. But I like to go and say, it's like, this is my dessert and vegetables talk, because I start with the dessert and then give you the vegetables, and that'll be abundantly clear later. So first off, let's start off with one thing that I just, is a pet peeve of mine, APT. Anybody playing the drinking game? Because it's like, I always like saying APT on this slide, because I'm just so tired of everybody. APT basically stands for now is we got popped by phishing, but we don't want our investors to know how poor our security was, so let's just call it APT. I mean, that's basically what it is, right? It's like, so I'm saying screw that. Let's forget about APT and let's just go with bad. It's like, I'm bad. Basic, adorable destruction. Because we talk about low-hanging fruit. It's like, well, they went after the low-hanging fruit. And I'm saying, screw the low-hanging fruit, people. The fruit is on the ground taking root. Work on that first. It's like, stop worrying about all this low-hanging fruit. You can't even get the stuff that's on the ground. So it's like, how are we going to defend against that stuff? So that's where, I still got a little rant in me. It's like, so I'm very ranty in the mornings before I had enough Diet Pepsi. And trust me, I got to be to here before there's less rant. So sorry. So we all know how easy it is just to be bad. So what are some of the threat indicators, you know, in case there's some mania people in here, what are the threat indicators of someone being bad? Well, it's like, and there is some mania people in here, I apologize for that. But so some of the key indicators is recon mode is only about 2 hours of Google and victims on website, though I've never used a full 2 hours yet. Never have I gone 2 hours. The most time is usually 25 minutes to 40. It's like the longest I used was an hour and 45 minutes, and I tell that story a little bit later. Number two is SE mode is usually walking into victim's location and winging it. Note sometimes without doing number one. It's like, and the first story that I will tell you is actually a story about that, where I walk in blind, never being in the facility, never knowing who's there, what's going on, never, and you'll see how that ended. Number 3 is ponage mode. It's basically plugging into a device into the victim's computer or network, sometimes with their help. Usually I like to ask the person to help me out with it because I think that's funnier. It's like, it's like, hey, can you help me pwn you? That would be awesome. It's like, I've actually installed a pwn plug into a bank branch in the U.S., and it's like, and I did it at the bank manager's desk and had her get up out of her chair and move her desk around with me so I could plug it in, just because that was hilarious. So it's like, number 4, you're supposed to have that there. 5, profit, if you're a bad guy, for sure, right? It's like, but hopefully we can profit as a defender as well. So also, these are the best scenarios that I've used, and I'm going to actually do a story from each one of these different scenarios so you can sort of understand what I mean by these scenarios. But the first one I usually go in is the passive mode. It's like, a passive mode is a tech, repair guy, delivery, job applicant, customer, wanderer. It's like, that's someone that's asking for help, that needs your help to do something. It's like, hey, can you help me with this? It's like, they're more relaxed, more asking for assistance. But I will tell you, there is a caveat. It's like, if you go in as a one of these repair people, or you better know what to do. You do not go into a place as a plumber unless you know how to plumb, people, okay? Because you never know when there's that situation like, oh yes, our pipes are backed up. Can you help us with that? And then what are you going to do? It's like, go in. I always go in as a tech repair guy because I can do desktop repair, or I can at least fake it enough now that it sounds convincing. 2 is auditor, executive, or policy enforcement. That's the more aggressive role. That's the more assertive role, the authoritative role. That's where you go in, and you usually have maybe in the contract wear a suit. And if I have to put a tie on, you're going to pay for that, in the worst possible way. I will make sure you understand that. And so I go in as an executive or something. It's like, and it's not like usually, and I've actually, especially in Europe, it's like, in certain countries of Europe, they respond better to that. It's not like, oh, can you help me? They're like more suspicious. It's like, I go in, excuse me, I need this door opened now. No, you're not supposed to know who I am. I'm with the surprise inspection. What part of surprise do you not understand? If this stuff wasn't working like this, it's like I wouldn't have to be here for a 15-hour flight to get over here. Open the door now or you're in the report. And then that works out well too. So 3, I always love that because that wakes people up like, whoa. So, and 3, crazy off the wall personalities, not recommended, but by gosh, they're fun. And I mean, literally, I broke it into a hotel, a palace hotel in the south of France, barefoot, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms and a t-shirt. Successfully compromised their whole environment with that. So that was fun. So we're going to do, and so basically what I'm going to break down is, I'm going to do 3 different stories. It's like from 3 different roles. It's like from 3 different countries, but all of them have one thing in common. They're all financially related. It's like these are 2 stories. Hold on. Okay, so they are all either that just totally threw me off right there. So. They're all 3 financial institutions. It's like 2 different, one's an actual financial place instead of deals with fund or something like that. The other one's a bank in one country, and the other one's a state treasury. So it's like, we're going to go through all of those. Let's start off with the tech repair, the passive one, and that's the, I call the Beirut bank job. It's like, it was actually such an unbelievable story, they turned it into a comic book. But one of the things I also did differently in this story, and this talk, because when you hear social engineering stories and stuff, you always go, yeah, right, you did that. Yeah, right, you did that. Well, I decided I did a little bit different with this talk. I'm actually including surveillance videos and talk and footage from some of the stories so you can actually see. This is me walking into the branch at the very upper left-hand corner, working on an unlocked computer workstation. The guy behind me notices me doing that, sees me taking a picture with my iPad of the unlocked screen showing that I had access to it, and then he comes and he talks to me and says, hey, what are you doing? So what do? In the lower right-hand corner, you can tell I made him stand up so I could work on his computer too. It's like, so those are, so I'm going to add actually some of the videos. So you actually, when I tell you some of these things, you can actually go, yeah, okay. And this was a job that I did in Beirut. It's like, it was one of those things where it's like, it was just really interesting because you want to think that well, I have these preconceived notions of what it's like in this other country because I saw, 24 or, this other movie or this other show, and it was like, it's really a very nice, trusting, very nice place. I love Lebanon. I think it's a really awesome place to visit. And the funny thing about it was they wanted to really see, because I did this first, and so they were not happy with this. I did this at the entrance meeting because one of the executives pissed me off. And so I did this right out of the gate. So they were like, well, we're going to take you to 3 of the branches and see what you can do. And I'm like, okay, cool, because I was trying to show them I could go from physical to computer. I could make them lose millions of dollars just from the physical attacks. And they're like, well, let's see how that happens. So they decided to drive me 3 different locations where I didn't know the location. I've never seen the location before. I didn't know where I was being driven. It was all random. They chose that. Let's see how that worked out for them. Because if you'll notice on the timestamp, from the time it took me to first walk into the door to full access to the bank, it was 2 minutes and 22 seconds. I don't speak Arabic. I don't speak French, which are the 2 predominant languages. It's like I'm wearing a DEF CON leather jacket and red Thundercat tennis shoes. It's like, and one of the ways that I did that, and I want you to understand, it's like when I say I had full access, I had full access. The customer was actually depositing $200,000 at the time in cash. So, but I wasn't interested in that because he wants paper money. So what basically happened was I walked straight in like I owned the place, like boom, boom, I don't know. And I have actually ended in, dead ends that way and stuff, which is sort of embarrassing, but I recover. It's like, but I'll just walk in like I know where I'm going. I walk down the hallway and I see the bank manager's office, and I see the bank manager and I just stop right outside the door and I wait for 30 seconds. He's talking to somebody. He has no clue that I'm there. No one inside that room knows that I'm there. Everybody in the hallway, down the hallway, thinks I'm inside the manager's office because I've been there for like 30 seconds. And then after that 30 seconds, I walk straight over to the executive's office, and I tell her, it's like, here with the IT, it's like from headquarters, we're looking on your GPO policies to make sure USB rights are fully protected and stuff, because there's a TCP/IP restack error that's been going on, and we just need to troubleshoot that because it could be the Java overflow. So could you let me plug this in real quick? It's like, yeah, I just need to plug this USB drive to test it. Yeah, don't mind that there's a rubber ducky on it. Don't worry. It's like, and I plug it in the device. It's like, and the command prompt pops up for some reason and stuff stops typing. I was like, oh yeah, let me take a picture of that real quick. Thank you. With an actual camera. So let me take a picture with that real quick. And I was like, okay, thanks, that's all I needed. And then I walk out of her office. And now I'm golden because everybody has seen me talk to the manager. Then her office is a little in view of people. They see me go into her office, work on her computer, and walk out. I'm golden. I go to the next computer and I go to the lady. It's like, say, hey, I need it with the IT to help start blah 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 flux capacitor. Can you help me out? And she's like, yeah. It's like, oh, with IT, we're having a problem with one of our computers. Rule number 1: don't come in as a plumber, right? So it's like, okay, let me start working on that. And it's like, I started working on that. But I told her, well, before I finish working on the computer, I need to go behind your teller line. And so she led me behind the teller line. It's like I got the guy up. I mean, within 2 minutes and like 40 seconds. I still have the video on my iPad. It's like within 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It's like you see the guy getting out of his chair so I can plug the USB drive in. It's like command, take a picture, and I keep walking. But it wasn't, I want you to understand exactly how bad the pwnage was. And so the best thing to do is just look at the timestamp. You'll see there, I was there for over 20 minutes going through everything. It's like I took all their documents, all their papers from behind the teller line. I was twirling in the chair for a minute just because I was bored. Okay, and I'm like, hello, bad guy over here. Okay, whatever. It's like, and then the manager comes out. He hears I'm here with the headquarters, and you know what he says? He's like, well, what about this computer? It's like, oh yeah, that computer. You know what? It's like, I'm going to get you another one from headquarters. We're just going to get you another computer from headquarters. And his eyes lit up like Christmas. He's like, oh, really? Well, we got this other scanner over here that's not working. And I'm like, I go over, look at it, and say, you know what? We'll get you another one from headquarters. That's fine. It's like, no problem. And he's like, yeah, but there's these monitors. Can you come look at these monitors? And I told him, you know what we're doing? We're rolling out a refurb of all our network to all the different branches, and you're really cool and stuff. Y'all been treating me the nicest this whole day. It's like, I've been to like 4 other branches today. You've been the nicest. I'm going to make sure you're on the top of the list. You're going to be the first one refurbed. We're going to have it out and stuff, by next week and stuff. You'll have all new computers, all new monitors. It's like, it's going to be totally redone. And that made me sad. because I don't do typical red team engagements. I just don't go break everything, write a report, and they get a memo 3 months later that something bad happened. I do security awareness engagements. It's like, I do not go in to just pwn something. Every time I break into a place, I step out and leave showing that I accomplished it, that I got away with it for 2 minutes. And then I walk back into that building and I talk to every single person I compromised, and I explain to them the horrible things that I just did and why I'm a bad person and I should feel bad. It's like, and that helps educate them and understand that's a real world teachable event and teachable moment. They're like, oh, wow. And they now understand how to be more cautious, more security aware and stuff in their environment. And that's where I think it accomplishes the most, because I'm teaching them directly. So I wait to close the branch down. It's like, not just because of the fact I was scared of I'm sure the guy was a falafel salesman with $200,000 in cash to leave, but I was making sure the whole branch was closed down because I was getting all the employees together. The executive that was with me from the bank, who was like not the happiest campers at the moment, it's like, was there to translate to Arabic just to make sure they understood exactly how bad this happened. And so I'm talking and telling what I did and and he's translating. And then the bank manager raises his hand like he's in grade school, and I'm like, yes? He's like, the monitors and computers, are we still getting those? And I felt so bad. I was like, no, I was lying to you. I'm a horrible person. And he was like, I felt like I kicked a puppy. It was bad. It's not even one of the worst things I've done, but I felt bad about that one, okay? It's like, I felt really bad about that one. So what I did while I was there also, because I had the only thing they didn't let me into, and I asked 3 times, but they wouldn't do it, and they didn't get suspicious about the fact that I asked 3 times, was try to get into the vault. Because I wanted to make sure there was no network connections or RG45 connectors in the vault, but the guy assured me there wasn't. Are you really sure? Can I look just to make sure? And he's like, no, it's like, it's very secured down there. It's like, yeah, but I don't really know that. Can I see it? And he's like, no. So I didn't get into the vault. Darn. But I did get the guy, in the snappy sweater vest. I did get his user ID. And I got his password. And they've got small Oracle Sun boxes that need a smart card to get in. So I got that too, and walked out with that. So now I've got a user ID, a password, and a smart card. So I'm like, well, I'm trying to create a wire transfer. I'm trying to show them exactly how many millions I can get out of their bank. So I need 2 more things, right? I need a computer and I need a network connection to their internal network to actually create a computer threat versed on physical compromise. So let's go get a computer, right? They drive me to another random branch. This one I shook things up because I felt really bad about promising that guy stuff. So in this branch, I did not say a word. I did not say hello to anyone. I did not say goodbye. I did not say anything. I walked in like I owned the place. I walked straight in. Turned out I ended up into the break room, which was cool because there was a water cooler, and pwning people is thirsty work. So took a little bit of water, waited about a minute or 2, and then I walked straight in while they were doing business right beside me, still in my DEF CON leather jacket and red Thundercat tennis shoes, and I stole the computer. I literally unplugged and turned off and disconnected the computer and walked it out of the bank branch without saying a word to anybody. It's like, so now I've got user ID, password, smart card, and a computer. Well, let's face it, it's like I go to the 3rd branch and what do I get? I thought, hey, I'm doing this work on the thing. It's like I need to test the network connectivity. It's like I need to go access in the computer room. Sure, sounds good. And there we are. So that's how simple it is. When you talk about environments and you talk about your corporate environment, it's like, you think about bank branches and banks anywhere and stuff, they've got to be security conscious because they know people are going after them for money, right? And you think of Lebanon and the Middle East, you think people know security pretty well. It's like, and that happened. So how good is your corporate security? It's like, what is the mindset of your employees and how safe they feel in their environment? It's like, so that's just one of those little food for thought things. Let's go to the next one. It's like, I was tasked to go in from a third party. I do subcontracting work for some people that are network pen testers, and they want somebody to go in and drop a phone plug or something like that, or just drop a box, or just try to get in. And this one was a little bit different because they had already successfully compromised the network. But the union of this state treasury, one of the states in the United States, was they were a little upset, and so they were like, well, you couldn't actually do all this stuff unless you had direct access. You'd have to break in or get in physically. So like, okay, we know a guy. And so they called me up, and it's like, and they said, and then when I got there, it's like I started looking at their main building, and they were like, wow, that is pretty tough. I mean, they had like a lobby with that was an actual man trap and stuff, because you needed access to get into there. You needed access to get, you got a receptionist and stuff, you got a guard that gets paid extra to look scary and stuff, it's like, you got all these things going and stuff, I'm like, well, that's really secure. It's like the glass was like double pane. People had their computer screens away from them. I was like, wow, that is tough. I did find a way in though, for the record. It's like, I did find a way in. If you go into the basement where there was a cafeteria, further down, there's a storage area that I could have gotten in. And there's a dumbwaiter that they didn't close off or didn't seal that could have actually gone into the dumbwaiter, could have gone up into the first floor of the building and got me into that workspace. Except for I looked in the dumbwaiter and there were spiders, so that was a no-go because they wouldn't let me have flamethrowers on this engagement. So therefore it was impenetrable. So I was not able to go there. But the good part is they had an office space and a office building like 50 miles out of away from the headquarters. Well, what's the great thing about that is people still think from physical standpoints, like, oh, physically we're this far away, we're fine. Logically, from the logical standpoint or logistical standpoint of a computer network, that computer 50 miles away might as well have been right next to the CEO or whatever those guys named, the state treasurer guy's desk, because they were on the same network. They were hard-coded directly inside the main network. So why would I go after that impenetrable fortress and stuff, with spiders, when I can just come over to this building? And I told them that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to break into this building. An attacker's going to break into this building. They're not going to break in there. And they're like, okay, let's see how you can do that. And this is where the story of scope comes in. We all know about scope, right? When you're doing a pen test, it's like an attacker, a bad guy, someone who wants to do you harm. This is his scope. He's got this scope. I'm going to just unleash tactical nukes because I can, right? Well, a client says, we want you to go after us like an attacker would. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But we only have support between Monday through Friday. So can you make it through Monday through Friday? And I'm like, okay. Sure. Most of our business is done, before 5 p.m. So you got to do it after 5 p.m. Okay. So not to impact our customers. And I'm like, okay. It's like, and the production servers are very sensitive because we don't want to patch them too hard. So can't go after the production servers. It's like, there's a development. Hey, you know what? We've got this development server that we've connected. It's like, go after that. Attack us like an attacker would. There's your scope. It's like, anybody get that? It's like, because this is exactly how an attacker is going to attack you, right? They're going to send an email asking, what's the best times of hours to attack you? And what's the best server to get in, please? If you could please get back to us, that would be great to pwn you. Thank you. It's like, sincerely, bad guy. It's like, so this is on this engagement, this was my scope. And I am not joking here, people. My scope was I could only come in after 5:30 because there were other people in the building that were not employees of them, and so I couldn't do anything to startle or frighten them. I could also talk to no one coming in or out of the building because I didn't know if they were state employees or not. It's like I could only stay in the public areas if I did get in, and I could only talk to the cleaners but not allowed to lie to them, because they weren't part of the employees, so I couldn't lie to them. That would be rude. It's like an attacker wouldn't lie to someone if they're trying to steal from them. So it's like I couldn't do that either. And they also didn't let me try to jimmy the doors or break into the doors and stuff, So once again, let's see how that worked out for them. It's like, this is my nose cam, yay. I carry, I don't wear it all the time now because I've got this annoying thing that rings on me, but it's like, I do have a high-def video camera, that's what it's being filmed with. That's the reason why you're going to need Dramamine, where I've actually recorded the video. So here's me going to the first door. I'm trying the door. I'm not very good with lock picks, but they wouldn't let me have a crowbar on this engagement either, along with the flamethrower, so I was very upset. They really tied my hands is what I'm trying to say, okay? It's like, so I go around. This is my favorite part of the talk because the longest part of the compromise was this walk right here, and I can drink. I literally do not have to narrate me walking, so. Wait, hold on. I needed that, okay. Now I'll try not to burp during the rest of the talk. So here we go, we get to the front door. It's locked. I take out my hacking tool. It's like as soon as I try the doors, regarding the lack of crowbar, take out my hacking tool, phone, and I look like I'm playing on something or doing something. 10 seconds later, with me just looking at my phone, notice at no time did I talk to anybody, but I got in. I actually broke into an office building that had secured elevator lobbies where it's like you had, on every floor, you had to have a badge to get into the actual work areas. Compromised every floor they told me that I could go onto. They, by the end of it, I was like, do you want me to try the CEO floor? And they're like, no, we're good. We're good. Because every time it's like, and I didn't even have Angry Birds on that one. I couldn't even do Twitter. It wasn't my phone. I was in another country. So it's like, I was just like acting like I was doing something on it. It's like, and all I had to do was look at that phone as someone came in or someone was walked out. It's like, and I was able to just go in right there, never making eye contact, just looking at my phone. It's like, it's a great hacking tool. It's like, and it makes phone calls, I've heard. So, so that was good. So now, here's one of the most worst, dire situations I've ever been on an engagement. This was one of the most hair-raising, most scariest parts of any engagement I've ever been on, okay? I was trapped in this public area for 2 hours. You underestimate my ADD, okay? 2 hours, people, with nothing else to do. My phone battery was at 2%. There's only so many tweets and Facebook posts and Angry Birds you can play in 2 hours. It was dire. So here I am walking around this place for 2 hours just like, cleaning crew, where are you? It's like, and so finally I hear the cleaning crew, they're up on the second floor, but I'm like, screw it, close enough. It's like, you know, I need to get out of here. So now I've got to go, and here is the actual video and audio of me talking to the cleaning crew and telling them the absolute truth. I cannot lie to them. Let's see if we can get the audio on this one. Did I hear that?
Hello. I'm trying to get back in the suite.
I was there the day before. I am trying to get back into it. Truth.
Could you let me in real quick? Yes. Downstairs?
No, okay. No.
Could you let me in? I can't get in.
I can't get in. Remember, they wouldn't let me have a crowbar.
Like, I just went to the bathroom and I didn't have my badge.
I was there for 2 hours. I had a drink, okay? Don't be judging me. And second of all, I did not have a badge. I have a valid employee ID badge, okay? I did not say it was their employee ID badge.
Could you try? Thanks, I just gotta do one thing real quick.
Destroy their network, one thing.
Working too late.
One, it's like I didn't do this for free; they were paying me. And two, it's like I think that weird laugh is endearing to people, so don't judge me. This is the longest part of the compromise here, people. Is just walking to the place I need to get in.
Thank you.
You need key?
Huh? Yeah, I don't have the key to get in.
Oh,
Which I
yes.
don't.
Yep, yep.
I have it.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Endearing laugh. Remember that. So here I go. It's like we're on time constraints. It's like
I should be in just a second.
I'm talking to someone on the phone, and I want to make it perfectly clear. Just hold on a second. Listen.
I think so, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I am recording this, so.
Even if I wasn't on the phone,
Yeah, she's got the key. Okay, I'm good, thanks. Bye. Thank you.
even if I was not on the phone with a real person, I would still act like I was on the phone. Because when the person comes up to do you something or try to get you access, you always make sure that you're talking to an authoritative figure. Like, oh no, don't worry, you don't have to, they're going to do this for me anyway. And then that subconsciously gives them validation, like, well, if I wouldn't have done it, someone else was going to do it anyway. I'm just saving the trip. I might as well do it. So it's like, it's that comfort and that confirmation that they were being okay. And if you'll notice, at no time did I lie. Well, okay. I told her I'd see her again. All right, I'd be back, and I didn't. So that was the one lie, but it was not to get me in, so it's okay. So it was like, it was all good. So the next story is, it's like I said, I do a lot of this stuff. It's like, I mean, this is not a job or career for me. I do this stuff for fun. I love this job. It's like, I love doing this stuff. But sometimes I don't like doing the regular things. It's like, I mean, if you want me to break into a bike shop in Poughkeepsie, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be busy. It's like, hey, we've got this high security risk facility and stuff, in the south of France. It's like, can you break in? Yeah, I'll do that one. It's like, I'm about to be doing a actual breaking into some financial places in Nigeria soon. So it's like, yeah, I like to be a little different. So, but I also like to be doing the same things, right? It's like, I like to do like off the wall, because who wants to just keep going in as a tech repair guy? So sometimes I choose some very unusual ones. And that's some of the stories, even those get in. Because just like you wouldn't believe a guy could make hundreds of thousands of dollars owning a car wash, you really shouldn't be having me come in and stuff, in pajamas and think I'm actually supposed to be in your mechanical room, which has actually have occurred before. I've literally at 3:30 in the morning walked out of a hotel, not the same one I'm talking about. I've walked out of another hotel because I usually break into hotels in pajamas because they're comfy. And unlike, Johnny Christmas, I don't like wearing pants. So I came out of a mechanical room at 3:30 in the morning, and the guy sees me and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I immediately responded with like, "Elevator? Elevator? Elevator. Elevator." And he helped me to the elevator. It's like, so I went up to the elevator, got in the elevator, went up to the lobby, went back down the stairs, and finished, putting the mechanical room. So, that works. But this is the engagement I call Jayson in the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad social engineering engagement. It takes a lot for me to feel bad about doing it. I've done some really horrible things, people, okay? Some of them people actually paid me to do, but that's another story. It's like, but this is like one of the worst ones I've ever done. It's like, and I'm talking about, I've gone in on wheelchairs and stuff and had people open the door for me and stuff because I had books on my lap. That's no problem, okay? It's like, the bad guy is trying to steal from you, okay? That's one of the things I've never understood when people are like, I can't believe you would do that. And I'm like, do you think a guy is going to go up to you in a dark alley and go, "Give me your wallet," and stuff? "Please, I'm sorry, but I do need the wallet," and stuff. I could kill you, but I'd just rather have the wallet, and then I probably won't kill you, okay? You're not going to get that. And then like, "Oh, thank you. Oh, sorry about that." Unless you're in Canada. I guess that's how muggings in Canada happen, okay? But not here, right? They're bad guys. They're doing bad things. They don't really care how they get the bad stuff, your stuff. They just want to do the stuff to be bad, right? So I don't really have a problem being a very bad guy. I pride myself in being the best bad guy I can be for the good guys, right? That's the way it was supposed to be. So I'm doing this financial institution in Kingston, Jamaica. And I'd already pwned them pretty bad the first 2 days. It's like, what I usually like to do is every engagement usually lasts 3 days. I spend the first 2 days destroying you completely. I mean, I want to torch from the ground down and up and whatever it goes. I don't know. I've never started fires on buildings before. But the best efficient way to burn a building down, that's the way I want to do it. If I had to, I'd Google it first. So it's like, that's the way I want to do it. The third day, I get caught. The third day is supposed to be the day that I do everything I can to get caught. Because I want a win for you. I want the customer to have a win. I want the employees to be able to see what it's like to actually succeed. You can't just show people and try to train people by just showing them the negative. You have to give them something in the positive so they can emulate on and look at. So I actually go from, hey, I need you access into this room. It's like, and you have to, can I get in the room? I'm here from the help desk. There was supposed to, the manager was, you know who he is. It's like, he said I was supposed to be in the server room. Can I get in the server room, please? It's like, and I go from that. And they usually catch that because I suck at being a social engineer when I'm trying to suck at being a social engineer. Some people I suck at just being it when I'm trying at being a good one. But still, it's like here or there. That's the way I try to do it. I get caught. But on the third day of this engagement, they were a little sore. They were a little upset with the fact that I had, was successful. So they're like, well, we want you to go after the headquarters now. If you're going to fail at the headquarters. It's like, and this is Kingston, Jamaica, downtown. This isn't like, oh, look, Dunn River Falls, look at the dolphins and stuff. This is not that area. So I was like, okay, fine. You want me to go after it? You want me to go? I'm going to go after you then. So I did an hour and 45 minutes on Google. They made me work for this one, okay? It's like to find a way in. But finally, after an hour and 45 minutes, I found a way. The financial institution also had a charity organization. They're really great people. I mean, I'm not being facetious. They are really great, honestly, wonderful humanitarians. This was a wonderful company, which is part of me feeling bad because I went in to their company as a TV producer from America doing a documentary on corporations doing great good in their communities and how I was going to put them on television for that. So I had the guy that was local and stuff, call him up, introduce me and stuff, and then I go to the phone, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I just had dinner with him. And he said that what you were doing here and the wonderful work you're doing, I've got this TV show that I'm working, and you're the perfect people to be on this. I need to get you on camera. I fly out tomorrow at 6 a.m. It's like back to LA. It's like, but I've got to see you today. Can I see you today? Is there any time I can see you today? That'd be great. It's like 2:30. Hold on a second. Cancel my 3. No, this is way more important. Cancel my 3. I got you down. I'll see you there. Ciao. It's like, and I hang up. It's like, and I get there at I'm supposed to be there at 3 or something like that, or 2:30. So I get there at 2:15 to the actual main office, not the building that was across the street where I was supposed to go, because I want to go to the main building because ponage. And I get in there, and you thought the state treasury got nothing on Jamaica financial institutions. That place was like, their guard was 10 times scary. I hope they paid him more, okay? It's like, and their doors, you got to be buzzed in, and the receptionist was even looking at you like, I mean, that wasn't very receptive, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and she's like, and I'm like, I'm here with this organization, I'm here to meet and she's like, that's across the street. And I'm like, okay, let me sign him, can I first, I need to go to the restroom real quick. And she's like, okay. Buzz the door. The security guard walks me. I like going to the restroom, not because I drink so much Diet Pepsi, but I get lost going to the best restroom so many times. I mean, I've literally, spent 2 hours trying to find a restroom before. I found, secured areas I wasn't supposed to be in, but I never found that restroom for some reason, So I decided to go try to find the restroom. I had no problem finding the restroom. The security guard made sure I knew exactly where that restroom was. At one point, I actually thought he was going to walk me to my stall, okay? It's like, and then be in the stall. It was very uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable situation for everybody concerned, okay? So I go in there, and it's like, I go in, and I get into the restroom, and I'm like, well, crap, for the first time, I don't need to use it right now. So I wait the appropriate amount of time that it takes to do bodily functions, and then I go to the sink, and I wash my hands, because even though it's imaginary bodily functions, I want them to make sure that they know I'm hygienic. So it's like I wash my hands, do the blow dryer, and I step out like, aha, now it happens. I walk outside, and there's that security guard standing right by the door. And I'm like, and so I literally was like, yes, I'm moving that right now. So that's how that happened. So I got back in there, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll go over to the other side. So I go to the other side, and I talked to one of the ladies that was managing. She turned out to be the manager. She turned out to be a really nice lady, and I told her what I was doing and how I was doing. It's like, and within 5 minutes, I was like, can I talk to? Do you have someone that's like a high corporate person that I can talk to who runs the charity as well? And stuff. Oh yeah, the board of directors. He used to be CEO of the company. He's like, yeah, can I talk to him? I need to talk to him real quick. It's like, so we have a meeting upstairs, and I'm talking to him. With 10 minutes of talking to him what I'm doing, what I'm trying to, you know what? I could talk all day about what we're doing and stuff, but I got this video on this USB drive. Don't worry about the rubber ducky on it. It's like, I got this great video of our TV show and stuff, and some of the pilot episodes we've already done. Let me show this to you on your computer. And he's like, yeah, sure. So I plug it into his computer. And one of the first times, I got these weird error messages on my machine. I literally think that my malware was competing with the malware that was already on his machine, because this guy was pwned so bad. It's like they were actually fighting, going like, no, I was here first, but I need it real quick. No, it's mine. And I'm like, man, this sucks. So here I go trying to get this, trying to put it on there, and it's like, get these error messages pops up. And I'm like, okay, well, I've already succeeded because I plugged in. And I was like, well, okay, let me just take that. And this guy really wanted to see those videos. No, I'll get my help desk support. And I'm like, no, I'll email you the clip or the link to it. No, I'll give. So he brings the desktop support guy in, which is a problem because they're a third-party contractor. So therefore, they're out of my scope. And I'm like, no, good. No. He hands the USB drive to the guy, okay? And I'm like, okay, let me go in and follow him. I need to follow him because I've got other movies on this USB drive. I need to see which one he goes to, which folder he goes to. So he's like, that sounds legitimate. 99% of social engineering is thinking quick on your feet, because you got to just be able to go with whatever the situation is. Because I only had malware. I had no it was a rubber ducky. It's like I had no freaking movies on there, but I had to make it sound like that was the reason I needed to follow him. Why I needed to follow him was because I needed to know what machine he plugged it in, so I could put in the report that machine was also compromised. So he goes into his little work area, and he plugs the computer in, and it's an Ubuntu machine. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. It's like I had the code was programmed for Windows. I'm good. And that's when I learned that Ubuntu is awesome, because it actually ran all the commands, and it went off, and then boom, it's like, there's my command prompt. And the guy's like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, let's close that out. So I don't know. It's like, it just means it's not working. I don't know what's going on. It's like, and then I go back in to that room with these two wonderful people. The lady gave me a book. There's a book on her life. She's like the lady, Mother Teresa of Jamaica. She is a wonderful humanitarian. And I spent the next 15 minutes explaining to these wonderful, dear, not even joking or exaggerating, kind human beings about how they were going to be on TV and famous for their good works, and they're finally going to get the recognition they deserved. Halfway through it, I started believing it. I was like this. I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I can see it now on the one frame. We're going to have a lady working at her computer. She's going to be working at her computer. She's going to be dressed very nice and conservative. So she's going to be working on her computer, typing away. And then we're going to transition. It's going to transition through the rest of the call center and all the different cubes. And you're going to say, come on in, we're having fun. It's like, and then we're going to transition through all these cubes and all these people working on the computers. And it's going to get to the glass window of your office building. And we're going to do a transition. That's what Halloween people call it. We're going to do a transition.
And we're going to transition onto the streets of Jamaica, and then we're going to go down this neighborhood, and then right there on the corner is this one girl who's hungry, and that same lady that was at her cubicle is now feeding her and giving her food and stuff and helping her out. And it's going to show how your work that you do in your building translates to the work and the people that you help out in Jamaica. It's going to be a great show. This really would be a great show. People should actually pick it up. It's like, so I get out of there, totally pwn the company and stuff, you know. But for one of the first times ever, actually the only time, I've never not done this. It's like I walked out of the building and 2 minutes go by. I'm still standing outside the door. 4 minutes goes by, still out front of the door. About 5 minutes, my driver comes up, who's seen me the last 2 days and knows what the routine is, comes up and drives, what's wrong? Is everything okay? He's like, I can't go and tell those people what I just did. There's no way. I'm a horrible man. And it's like, and for the first time, I actually had to call my client and tell him, like, you need to tell them what happened. I can't do it. I can't tell those wonderful people what I just did to them. I can't face them. I'm sorry. My bad. You can do that. So it's a great thing about not having to be an adult. I don't have to be responsible either. So so that happened. It's like and it all worked out okay, because it's like, you know, I pwned them, but it was like I felt really bad. It's like, and usually I celebrate a good talk and a good compromise with having some ice cream. For the record, I did have ice cream, but it was a little bitter. Okay, so it's like I think it's that. But basically the summary is this, and it's quite simple, is that we like to have something nice. We like nice lies, because nice lies are better than bad truths, right? It's like, I fly all the time. I go to some really cool places that could kill me. Literally. It's like, I could fly on a plane. I'm flying out tomorrow. It's like, yeah, tomorrow morning, I'm like, oh, yep, I got to catch that. Hey, I'm in first class to my death. That's awesome. That's got to be something good. I'm pretty sure the plane's going to go down. We don't think like that, because that sucks. Who wants to live like that unless you're Oscar the Grouch or something, right? It's like, that's depressing. And I got enough depression for everybody. I don't need to add on to it with those kind of thoughts, right? So what we do is we think this. It's like, oh, that nice guy who's got a shirt that says your company's computer guy, yeah, I'm sure he's legit. He wouldn't really try to compromise me. He wouldn't really try to break into my network. Yeah, let him in. Oh, that guy with the, you know, DEF CON t-shirt. I don't know what that is. It must be something for their company. It's like, I've broken into a server room literally with a work shirt that said hacker on it. Nice little hacker on it. And they've let me in. Because that's more convenient than the truth. I was in London breaking into Vice headquarters and stuff, you know, doing a thing for them. And it was an all-Mac shop, except for like 3 Windows machines. It was an all-Mac shop. And I go in with a Microsoft fake badge that said hacker on it. Badge number was 31337. And it's like, and a lady that was very attentive, she was like, I need to plug this, the USB drive in. Don't worry about the rubber ducky. I need to plug this in. And she's like, your badge says Microsoft. I'm like, well, yeah, because we're talking about the GPO policies, because our domain controller is Windows, and Microsoft has to do a restack because the Apples or stuff, you know, are doing on the TCP with Apple Talk and stuff, you know, which is causing a sub-frequency error and stuff, you know, on TCP reset. So I need to do that. And she, okay. Wait, your badge says hacker on it. No, I'm like, yeah, because you need good hackers to go after the bad hackers and stuff, you know, so that's why they hired me and stuff, you know. And then she's like, okay, cool. And I plugged it in. She didn't notice that my lanyard said professionally evil on it, which I found was strange, okay? I come with warning labels, people. I always come with warning labels, okay? So, and I proceeded to pwn all the different Macs that I needed and left. It's like, because that sounds better than, oh no, I'm here to compromise you and make you feel bad because you let me steal your data. So what do we need to do for our employees? Quite simply, and yes, this is the vegetables time, we need to get better. Whenever I hear a security professional talk to me about a stupid user clicked on a link, a stupid user fell for a phishing email, or a stupid user went to a website they shouldn't, I hear I'm a stupid security professional who can't properly train my employees, and so they get compromised. That's what that is. It's like, stop blaming the users and start looking at yourself. It's like, we need to get them better. We need to train them better. You don't want those kind of compromises? Do something about it. If I would have gone into that bank with a ski mask and a machine gun, I was going to have a very bad day. Because I think that guy deposited the money was armed. But still, I would have had a very bad day. You know why? Because we take the time to train all our employees for the banks and stuff, to how to approach if a bad guy comes in with a gun and ski mask. They know exactly how to react. They know how to respond. They know what to do. We don't tell them about the geek and the USB drive. We don't train them for scenarios like that. Right from the get-go, we train them to do your job. You need to process this here. This goes into this bucket here. We know they can do their job because that's why we hired them. We train them to do complicated tasks, operate different kinds of heavy machinery. We teach them how to do these things because we know that they're intelligent enough to do that. So start putting in the training at the beginning and let them be informed that they're also part of the security team. So how do we do that? We need to educate them. Once again, scary. Well, not those guys. They're adorable. But it's like the other things are scary, right? We know to be afraid of those. We're not teaching them to be afraid of these. Those are the scary things, especially that guy on the left, because he's sort of sketchy. Sorry, Darren. But it's like, but those are scary things. And I have all of those on me. It's like, it's like in my bag right now. It's like, and more. It's like to do damage. It's like, so we've got all that. It's like, we're not training them to be afraid of those. We're not training them to be afraid of these. These are terrifying. These are the most horrendous vectors of attacks that you're ever going to see. Forget about my O-Day proxy ham radio doing offset communication or my 0-day for Java and Adobe. No! You're not even patching. I still see SQL Slammer on my firewalls, people. That was from 2003. That is an unpatched SQL server from 2003. The patch came out in September of 2002. The vulnerability was released at DEF CON in 2002. SQL Slammer hit February 2003. It is 2015, still circulating the internet. And you think the 0-day and Flash is something, and you think Poodle and Heartbleed and insert logo and fancy title here is your main concern. The fruit is on the ground. It's like, so these are because I don't drop these in parking lots. I don't put these on the lobby receptionist desk or anything like that. No. When I go on an engagement, I have a stack full of envelopes and a marker. I walk through that facility. I see someone that's not at their cube. There's their name right there on the little marker so you know who it is. Write their name down exactly like it is on the marker, on the little placard thing. Write their name down on the envelope. Take a USB drive. Put it in the envelope, seal it, and put it on their desk. You get back from wherever you are, you find a sealed envelope with your name on it and a USB drive inside it. Name the one person who's not going to pick that up and put it in their computer. Exactly. And when you see projected forecast for employees 2016, who's the person who's not going to click it if it actually even needs to be clicked on to exploit? That's how that happens. And they're prevalent and they're great because I keep going to conferences and they keep giving them to me, so thank you. And this slide is a little old because now they do have malware on it, so it's not yet. Trust me, they do. So we need to educate them. You need to teach employees the common dangers. You need to drive home the fact that stranger is good. But what you need to do more importantly, I'm trying to self-censor myself because I know I'm way past time, is that you need to create teachable events year-round, not an annual exercise. Don't just bring in a red team or a security or a pen testing company, just break the door down, boom, see you next year. How does that help? Your own staff can create teachable moments. It's like try to walk through the door when you're not supposed to be there. It's like when you're trying to piggyback off someone, even though you have your badge. Try to see if they're paying attention to what's on their desk. It's like walk by and talk to them and stuff. Try to say, "Hey, there's a stranger." Do something. Send them an unusual email with a link to an intranet site and stuff. That they shouldn't have clicked on. Give them teachable moments. And a lot of people are like security likes to be like, well, what kind of teachable moments can you show us and stuff? It's like, what kind of teachable moments are there to give our employees? Because our employees are stupid. And I'm like, really? I can create teachable moments. I taught a teachable moment right here at this conference. That's the upper left-hand corner. This one was in Hack Paris when I first got the idea. That's me running a Wi-Fi Pineapple. All those machines were connected to my device. I was manning the building, and DNS spoofing, it's like all their traffic. It's like, for the record, no internet connection on my machine, and the DNS spoof went to a page that said, no matter where you went to, it went to a page saying, oops, this was not the Wi-Fi access point you were looking for. Sorry about that, with a winky face. It's like, because I'm not a bad guy and I'm not trying to pwn you. So no traffic actually went through the device that would compromise anybody, but it probably pissed them off. So that's that. It's like I did an engagement and stuff. I did a talk for a bunch of bankers in Nigeria, true story. And the whole day of the conference, the whole first part of the conference before I gave my talk, I was wearing those glasses. And I had some great conversations with them. And then on stage, I took the glasses off to explain to them and show them that these were high-def video recording glasses with a USB drive attached into it. And I didn't, but I could have recorded all their conversations. That's a teachable moment. So if you're wondering how to create a teachable moment, we still need teachable moments in our industry. It's like, so your users definitely need those teachable moments as well. You also need to learn how to empower your employees. You need to empower them to be the change you want to see, right? It's like, how do you do that? Because it's like, it doesn't matter if you teach them all these things, if you don't make them feel comfortable about being able to act on it. It's like, users are not your problem, they're part of your solution. One of the biggest things that I know of is who here in your company or corporation has an extension number that everybody knows that if they see a suspicious email, they see a suspicious person in the building, they see anything suspicious or unusual, they have a number to call and they know that number. Don't raise your hands because it makes me sad when I don't see hardly anybody raise it, okay? It's like, so don't even bother to do that, but just how many do that? I was breaking into a bank in Amman, Jordan. The bank manager was telling me not to plug the device into the computer. And the whole time I was going, you're right, I shouldn't plug this in. You should call somebody. Is there somebody from the headquarters you can contact? Because they'll tell you I should be here. I really, really should be here. So yeah, it's like, no, you're right. I'm not going to plug in the device and stuff, until you contact. Wait, hold on. I should definitely not be plugging it in until you contact someone, but you'll contact them. They'll tell you it's okay. You've got the number. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you should really tell someone. 5 machines I compromised with that. The whole time, her telling me not to plug in the computer, all 5 times, me saying, yeah, you're right, I shouldn't be doing that, all 5 times, in a bank, in Amman, Jordan. I don't blend well in Amman, Jordan, people, okay? It's like, but I was still just plugging away. It's like, so that's what happens. We have to make sure that they're empowered and they know how to communicate and where to communicate something suspicious. They shouldn't just have to act on it themselves. They should have someone they can call to get support. Another thing is enforcement. Employees must feel valued and management must take security seriously. So the key things about that is, do employees see policy being enforced throughout the enterprise? What I'm saying about that is, yeah, we know security is tight for Herb in the mailroom, right? Screw that guy. You don't know what he's going to click on. CEO of the company, though, is like, I need domain access. I am the king of this domain. I own this domain. I should have administrative rights on everything. I should be able to see everything, right? Why? It's like, I've actually had a management meeting and stuff, where I said in a management meeting where the owner of the company should not be allowed to connect to the network, this was a decade ago, should not be allowed to connect to the network until his laptop had a virus DATs from a CD, because it was a decade ago. It's like, and before his virus updates were updated, he should not be allowed to connect to the network. They laughed at me. And there's a lot of ways that people laugh at me and I'm okay with, but that one was not it. And I looked at them straight in the faces, because I looked at all of them, and I said, you know what? When he gets compromised and he infects this company, I promise you he's not going to go and say, oops, my bad. He's going to say, why didn't you protect me from myself? And when you're on your job, you remember that, because that question, it was asked by the Target CEO, that was asked by the Sony CEO, that was asked by insert name here, a phone company that just happened yesterday, CEO. It's like, that was the same reframe. Why didn't you protect me from myself? It's like, and another thing is, visibility, and these are low-cost solutions. Most of the solutions I've given you, have you noticed it costs nothing? It's like, and the most freest one, the easiest one to do is visibility. Do people in your company know that your team actually exists? Do they know there's an information security team even in their company? It's like, we live in a digital world, we see digital risk. It never translates to kinetic to real world risk, right? How do we translate to real world risk? I play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's like, I love first person shooters, right? So I'm playing, and I am not a good player. Let me be honest with you, okay? I'm in there for fun. My teams hate me because I'm all, pew, 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 America, running up, pew, 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 that's all I'm doing. And then I get shot, and I get killed, and I'm like, oh, sad face. Hey, I respond, pew, 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 America, yay, pew, pew. Now, if you put 1,000 volts through me with an electrode every time I get shot, would my gameplay change? I'd be all like, pew, 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 America, pew. That would be my gameplay. Because I know that there is a real world risk to that. Passwords under keyboards. Is that a problem in corporations? Send your security team at least once a year through every facility that you own, looking under the keyboards for passwords. You'll find some, you'll be sad, but every single person in that building will understand, oh, wow, we have a security team. Oh, passwords under keyboards are bad, who knew? It's like, and that will educate them, and that will show visibility. When you get a virus outbreak on someone and you know the computer, go to that person's desk. If they do a policy infraction to a website, go to that person's desk. Explain to them why they did was wrong. You're not only educating that person, you're educating the 10 people around whom are trying not to act like they're looking and stuff, but they're all looking and stuff because that's Bob in accounting and he's always in trouble. So it's like they're all doing that, right? It's like, and then they educate another 20 people at the water cooler and stuff and on lunch breaks, like, did you see what Bob did for freaking accounting? And then they educate another 50 people because they posted on Facebook, it's like, Bob in accounting did it again. So, so that you teach that. And that spreads. And that was no Blinky box you had to install. That was no device that had to be put into control your systems. That was no 100,000 grand, whatever it is for, the A-team to come in and do bad things to you. That was a free service that you can provide for your customers, which are your users, and apply to it and help them out. So the summary is very close, very quick, and very easy, okay? I hated this show. I hated it. I mean, literally, it was a nightmare to get through because everybody was making references, so I started watching it. Halfway through the seasons, I was like, this guy needs to die. Spoiler alert. It's like, it was a bad guy. I mean, I'm watching a show about a bad guy, and people are rooting for this bad guy, and I'm like, guys, he's a bad guy. He should have it. I mean, like, every time something bad happens, like, yeah, you're right, you should, you mother, that's what you get. Why do we like the bad guys winning? Our job is to make him not so happy, to make him not so profitable. Stop making the bad guys happy. Start making them sad. Start making their jobs harder. Start making them pissed off. Instead of being the guy who has to worry about the outbreak, maybe the other guy's like, crap, they saw that one coming and I'm out of their network. Y'all can do that. So do it. That's it.